Standing in the pouring rain at Fort Campbell, 36 soldiers watched their new platoon leader to see if she'd crack. Staff Sergeant Kyle Brennan had just said something that echoed across the entire formation, loud enough that there was no mistaking it was meant for her ears. Your father earned that uniform. You were just wearing it. Rain dripped off First Lieutenant Jade Mercer's patrol cap as she stood there, completely still, feeling 2 decades of her life compressed into that single brutal moment. What Brennan didn't know could fill a book, and he was about to learn every page the hard way. Let me take you back to understand why this moment mattered so much. When Jade was 9 years old, 2 officers in dress blues knocked on the door of her family's home at Fort Bragg. Her mother opened it, looked at their faces, and collapsed before they even spoke a word. Colonel James Mercer, her father, a battalion commander and ranger with multiple combat deployments, had been killed by an improvised explosive device outside Fallujah. He'd been leading a mounted patrol when they got ambushed. Instead of staying safe, he'd dismounted under enemy fire to help wounded soldiers. The IED detonated when he reached them. 14 soldiers survived that day because of his actions. He didn't. They gave him the Medal of Honor posthumously and gave Jade a folded flag and a ghost she'd spend the next 20 years chasing. Her mother remarried when Jade turned 12 to a decent man, a defense contractor who genuinely tried to be a father figure. But you can't replace someone like that, and they both knew it. Jade grew up with this burning need to prove something, though she couldn't quite name what. She crushed academics, dominated athletics, excelled in leadership positions, not because these things brought her joy, but because she had to show someone, something that she measured up. West Point accepted her at 17. She graduated in the top 15% of her class. Got commissioned as an infantry officer in 2018, right when women were first allowed into the branch. Assigned to the 82nd Airborne as a platoon leader at 22 years old. But here's the thing that aided her constantly. Everyone who learned her last name made the connection immediately. Mercer, as in Colonel James Mercer. And with that recognition came assumptions. She only got here because of her father's reputation. They must be giving her special treatment. The standards must be lower for her. So, at 23, she volunteered for Ranger School during only the 2nd year women were authorized to attend. Out of 19 women who started her class, 3 graduated. Jade was one of them. She earned that tab through 62 days of deliberate suffering. Sleep deprivation, near starvation, psychological pressure designed to break people. She patrolled through Georgia swamps with hypothermia setting in. She led missions, operating on 3 hours of sleep stretched across 5 days. She got recycled once, during a mountain phase, after failing a patrol due to a navigation error, then came back and absolutely destroyed it the 2nd time. She wore her Ranger tab every single day after that. Some soldiers respected what it represented. Others whispered she'd gotten special treatment, even there. Then came Afghanistan in 2022. And everything changed. Her platoon had been attached to a special forces team for village clearing operations in Paksha province. The mission went sideways in the first 30 seconds. They got hit with a complex ambush from 3 sides simultaneously. Their radio operator died instantly. The forward element got pinned down with 2 soldiers wounded and trapped. Jade took command in the chaos. She organized defensive fire, called in close air support danger close to their position, and personally led a counter-assault that broke the ambush. 11 American soldiers walked away from that fight because she kept her head while everyone around her was losing theirs. They put her in for a Silver Star. After a lengthy review process, it got downgraded to a Bronze Star with Valor, officially because the reviewing officer felt her actions didn't meet the gallantry threshold, though she suspected other factors played in. She accepted the medal, locked it in a drawer, and never mentioned it again, because medals didn't erase doubt. Respect did, and she was still earning it one skeptical soldier at a time. Now, fast forward to Fort Campbell. It's 6:30 on a Monday morning in March, and the 2nd Brigade Combat Team motor pool smells like diesel fuel, gun oil, and the particular kind of tension that builds before a major deployment. Alpha Company, 1st Battalion, 97th Infantry Regiment, is staging vehicles for a 2-week rotation at the Joint Readiness Training Center down in Louisiana. Jade stands 5'7" with the lean build of a distance runner. At 28, she carries herself with the kind of quiet authority that comes from leading people in places where mistakes cost lives. Sharp features, high cheekbones, strong jawline, dark brown eyes that track everything happening around her, black hair pulled into a regulation bun. There's a thin white scar running from her right eyebrow into her hairline. Barely visible unless you know to look for it. She's wearing standard army combat uniform with First Lieutenant bars on her chest, crossed rifles indicating infantry branch, and that Ranger tab on her left shoulder. Her right shoulder bears the 82nd Airborne Combat Patch, proof she's deployed to a combat zone. Interestingly, she doesn't have her Combat Infantryman badge yet, even though she earned it in Afghanistan. The paperwork is still crawling through Personnel Command at its typical glacial pace. She's standing near her platoon's Humvees running final radio checks while their soldiers organize equipment. Her command, 2nd Platoon of Alpha Company, consists of 36 infantry soldiers, most of them under 20, all watching to see if their female platoon leader can actually lead or if she is just another academy graduate playing soldier. First Sergeant David Kowalski stands nearby, 43 years old, 2 Iraq deployments, 1 Afghanistan, with a face that looks carved from granite. He's been watching Mercer for 2 weeks since she took command, reserving judgment, waiting to see if she's legitimate. The platoon's real problem is Staff Sergeant Kyle Brennan, 10 years in the Army, squad leader, former high school football star from Texas, who blew out his knee and joined up when college scholarships evaporated. He's standing 30 feet away with his squad when he says, deliberately loud enough for everyone to hear, "New lieutenants. Got big boots to fill. Let's see if she can walk in them without tripping Specialist Maria Cortez." One of Mercer's vehicle drivers glances at her platoon leader to gauge the reaction. Mercer doesn't even look up from her radio, just skis the handset and runs her net check, like nothing happened. First Sergeant Kowalski hears it, though, and he's already moving toward Brennan with murder in his eyes. But that comment was just the opening shot. Brennan had been a quarterback in high school, scholarship, offers, the whole package, until he blew his knee junior year. The Army had been Plan B 10 years later. He's still bitter, still trying to prove he's better than his circumstances. He'd expected a male platoon leader, someone he could relate to, someone who'd earned it the same way he had. Instead, he got Mercer, an academy graduate with a famous name who probably skated through on connections and politics, while he earned everything the hard way. At least, that's what he told himself. The formation incident was just the beginning. Tuesday morning, 5:30. Platoon physical training. Mercer leads them through a 6-mile run followed by upper body work. She keeps pace with the fastest soldiers and finishes every exercise without slowing down. Brennan makes sure to comment afterward where she can hear. Not bad for an LT. Probably had someone carry a ruck at West Point though. Wednesday is range day. Mercer shoots expert with her M4, 39 out of 40 targets. Then she qualifies expert on the M249 and M240 machine guns. Brennan shoots expert too, then loudly suggests the lane NCO must have been going easy on her. Thursday is vehicle maintenance. Mercer knows every system on the Humvee: engine, transmission, electrical, weapons, mounts. She can diagnose problems faster than most mechanics. Brennan tells his soldiers she probably memorized the manual overnight just to impress people. First Sergeant Kowalski pulls Brennan aside Thursday afternoon and explains very clearly that continued disrespect toward an officer will result in Article 15 punishment. Brennan agrees, then goes right back to undermining her. Just quieter, more careful, technically legal, but completely corrosive. By Friday, the platoon has split into camps. Half respect Mercer's obvious competence, half out watching Brennan to see if disrespecting her actually has consequences. Friday evening, the company commander, Captain Robert Ashford, calls Mercer to his office. 12 years in, former enlisted, Ranger tabbed, zero tolerance for political games. "I'm hearing things about Brennan," he says. "About morale." Jade keeps her expression neutral. "It's being handled, sir." "Is it? Because it looks like your squad leader is running a shadow command structure. He's testing boundaries. I'm managing it." Ashford leans forward. "You've got 4 days until we roll to JRTC. If Brennan doesn't fall in line by then, your platoon won't function under evaluation pressure. That gets people hurt. Notionally hurt, but still hurt. Your career gets hurt for real." "Understood, sir." "So, handle it. However you need to." Mercer walks out knowing exactly what that means. JRTC isn't just training. It's a 2-week evaluation where every mistake gets recorded, Every decision gets graded, and every leader gets rated. If her platoon fails because of Brennan, her career fails with it. That night, alone in her quarters, she makes a decision. She tried patience. She tried leading by example. Now she'll do what her father would have done. Prove herself through performance that leaves absolutely zero room for doubt. She sits on the floor, lights off, door locked. The room is sparse. Bed, desk, wall locker, nothing personal except one framed photo on the nightstand. Her father in dress uniform, taken 2 months before Fallujah. He's smiling. She has his eyes. Her body aches from a week of trying to outwork skepticism. Her right knee throbs from an old airborne injury. Her shoulders burn from carrying gear she didn't need to carry, but carried anyway because sharing the load means trusting soldiers who do UN trust her yet. She pulls out her phone and scrolls to a photo buried in her gallery. Her father's Medal of Honor citation. She memorized it years ago but still reads it. Sometimes, when doubt creeps in, for conspicuous gallantry and intrepidity at the risk of his life above and beyond the call of duty. He led from the front, died leading from the front. She spent 20 years trying not to be him, trying to build her own identity, make her own name, prove her own worth. But maybe that's wrong. Maybe instead of running from his shadow, she needs to step into it. Not to become him, but to honor what he built. Her phone buzzes. Text from First Sergeant Kowalski. Brennan's squad is losing faith in the chain. Need to address before JRTC. She types back, I will. Saturday morning, 8:15. Her phone rings. Captain Ashford. Listen up. Battalion's running a pre-JRTC shakedown exercise starting Monday at every platoon in the company. 12-mile land navigation course with tactical problems at checkpoints, culminating in a platoon live fire except your platoon goes first. That's 48 hours notice, sir. Correct? Which means you've got today and tomorrow to prep your soldiers, check equipment, and make sure everyone's ready. This isn't optional. Performance grades go into your officer evaluation report. Understood, sir. And Lieutenant, this is your chance to unfuck whatever's happening with Brennan. Don't waste it. He hangs up. Mercer immediately calls her squad leaders, including Brennan, and gives them until 1300 hours to have all soldiers and equipment staged for inspection and briefing. She spends the next 4 hours personally checking every radio, every weapon, every piece of gear. At 1300, second platoon forms up. 36 soldiers, all carrying game faces. Mercer briefs the mission. 12-mile course through Fort Campbell training areas. 4 checkpoints with tactical scenarios involving casualty evacuation, equipment, recovery, hasty ambush, defensive position. Final event is a platoon live fire, assault on a shoot house. Time standard, complete everything in under 5 hours. She looks directly at Brennan. Staff Sergeant. You've got point navigation. I'll be moving with the main body and evaluating performance. Brennan nods. No smile. Just professional acknowledgement. Monday morning, 0600. They step off. Brennan sets a challenging pace. Not brutal, but demanding. Mercer stays mid-formation, rotating between squads, checking soldiers, making corrections. Bimila 3 to Privas are struggling. She has stronger soldiers redistribute their ammunition load to lighten the struggling soldiers' rucks. Basic leadership. Nothing fancy. Mile 4. First checkpoint. Casualty evacuation under simulated fire. Brennan runs it. Makes mistakes. Security positions are wrong. Casualty movement is inefficient. Mercer lets him finish, then calls the platoon in for a quick after-action review, pointing out what went wrong and how to fix it. No ego, just teaching. Mile 7. Second checkpoint. Equipment recovery. Move a 180-pound ammo crate 300 meters through dense brush. Brennan tries to organize it, gets soldiers confused. Mercer steps in calmly. 2% teams, rotate every 50 meters. Squad leaders, control pace. Move now. Completed in 7 minutes. Mile 10. Third checkpoint. Hasty ambush. Mercer runs it herself, positioning soldiers perfectly, executing the drill flawlessly. Brennan watches closely. Really watches. Mile 12, final checkpoint. Platoon live fire, shoot house, 20 targets, mixing threats and non-threats. First squad goes 2 minutes 20 seconds. 1 miss. Second squad, 2 minutes flat. Clean run. Third squad. Brennan squad. 1 minute 55. Clean. Fourth squad. Mercer's squad. Goes last. She leads from the front. They completed in 1 minute, 42 seconds, with 0 misses. Perfect target discrimination. When they finish, every soldier in the platoon is watching. Brennan stands there, processing what he just witnessed. First, Sergeant Kowalski walks up to Mercer. Time to lead, ma'am. Mercer calls platoon formation. Listen up. Some of you think I'm here because of my father's name. You're partially right. I am James Mercer's daughter. That opened doors, but I walked through them the same way you did, by meeting the standard. I went to Ranger School, 62 days. Got recycled once in mountains, came back and finished. I deployed to Afghanistan, led soldiers under fire, earned my tab and my combat patch the same way every ranger and paratrooper in this formation did, by not quitting when it got hard. She pauses, making eye contact with soldiers across the formation. I don't expect you to respect my name. I expect you to respect my competence. If you can't do that, request a transfer. But if you stay, you follow orders, and you perform. Because at JRTC, we're being evaluated as a team, and I don't lose. She looks directly at Brennan. Staff Sergeant Brennan, you've been testing me for 2 weeks. I understand why. You wanted to know if I was real. Now, you know. So here's your choice. Get on board or request transfer to another platoon. Decide now. 10 seconds of absolute silence. Then Brennan steps forward and salutes. I'm on board, ma'am, and I apologize for being unprofessional. Won't happen again. Good, Mercer says. Then let's get ready to dominate at JRTC. 2 weeks at the Joint Readiness Training Center. Full force-on-force against dedicated opposition forces. Observer controllers grading every decision. Scenarios deliberately designed to exploit weaknesses. Second platoon. Day 3. Complex urban assault. Clear a 3-story building. Capture a value target. Extract under contact. Mercer leads the planning. Delegates execution to squad leaders. Moves with the assault element. They complete the mission in 19 minutes with 0 friendly casualties and successful target capture. Observer controller rates a superior performance. Day 6. Mounted patrol with IED strike simulation. Brennan's squad takes simulated casualties. Mercer personally runs a casualty evacuation while organizing security and calling for medevac. Textbook Tactical Combat Casualty Care. Observer controller rates. Ixtlan. Day 9. Defensive operations. Platoon has to hold key terrain against reinforced enemy assault for 4 hours. Mercer positions crew-served weapons perfectly. Establishes interlocking fields of fire. Controls indirect fire support with precision. They hold a position for 6 hours until the scenario ends. Observer controller rates it outstanding. Day 12. Final mission. Raid undefended compound at night. High-value target capture. Sensitive site exploitation. Exfiltration under contact. Mercer plans it personally. Briefs it clearly. Rehearses it twice. Leads the assault personally with night vision goggles. They complete the objective in 23 minutes. Capture the target. Collect intelligence. Exfiltrate with 0 casualties. The observer controller calls it the best platoon-level raid he's evaluated in 3 years. When final scores post, 2nd platoon ranks 1st in the company, 3rd in the battalion. Captain Ashford finds Mercer during the final after-action review. That was exceptional. Lieutenant, I'm putting you in for an Army Commendation Medal and recommending you for early promotion to captain. You'll be taking over as my executive officer next month. Thank you, sir. Ashford lowers his voice. Your father would have been proud. I deployed with him in 2006. He was a hell of a leader. Mercer feels something crack inside her chest. I hope so, sir. Back at Fort Campbell 3 weeks later, battalion awards formation. Mercer receives her medal in front of the entire unit. As she walks off the parade field, Brennan is waiting. Ma'am, I need to say something. Go ahead, Staff Sergeant. I was wrong about you. I thought you were writing your father's name. I didn't see that you were honoring his legacy by being the kind of leader he was. You earned every bit of respect this platoon has for you. And I'm sorry, I made you prove it the hard way. Mercer looks at him. I don't need your apology, Staff Sergeant, but I accept it. And, for what it's worth, you're a good NCO. You just needed to remember that leaders don't have to look like you to be competent. Roger that, ma'am. Also, I recommended you for promotion to Sergeant First Class and for the platoon sergeant slot when I moved to executive officer. Don't make me regret it. Brennan's eyes widen. Ma'am, I won't let you down. I know. That's why I recommended you. That evening, Jade sits in her quarters holding her father's photos. 20 years of running from his shadow. But now she understands. The shadow isn't a burden. It's a foundation. He built something worth building on. She sets the photo down next to her Ranger tab and her Bronze Star. Someday she'll add more. But for now, she's earned something more valuable than medals. She's earned the respect of soldiers who started as skeptics and ended as believers. Her phone buzzes. Text from Brennan. First round's on me at the company bar. You coming, ma'am? Mercer smiles and types back. On my way. She grabs her jacket and walks out into the spring night. There's work ahead. Always work ahead. But for the first time in 20 years, she feels like she's stepped out of her father's shadow not by running from it, but by proving she belongs in it. And that's enough.